Hello to you all, and welcome to Pyramid Energy. I'm doing this reading differently. I have all the cards laid out in front of me. You'll be able to see them on the screen, but on my end, I'll be opening them up as I go. There is a message already that I received through shuffling that it's about your journey and about how it's unfolding, and some advice around, for example, when you're watching a movie. If you were to run the movie and then not watch the whole movie, but then pause somewhere in the middle and see a piece of a scene, you would immediately start to form ideas around what the entire movie is about, how it might have started and how it's going to end. But they're saying you're forming an entire story that you haven't seen. Okay, it hasn't unfolded. You haven't watched everything, and you're deciding how it's going to turn out based on a little sneak preview, which actually hasn't necessarily been carefully selected to give you a full view of everything. It's just glimpses you're receiving. This advice is to not take a glimpse or a sneak preview and create the entire story out of it, because it has a way of distorting your enjoyment of the entire movie, unexpected ways in which the movie can surprise you, all of that. And what's more is that you're the creator of this movie and you're seeing a sneak preview, okay, and then you're spending your time focusing on the sneak preview instead of just creating time and watching it from the beginning and enjoying how it unfolds. This never-ending movie. The first card I have here is Judgment, and you're crossed by the Three of Pentacles. What's interesting, I'm already seeing, is you see this Judgment card has a cross in the middle of this horn, which for some reason, if you were to turn it slightly, it would look a little bit like the pentacle, but not. Okay? What I'm seeing here, this is strange, but what I'm seeing here is that this Judgment cross here has four, points. Whereas the Three of Pentacles, each pentacle has 5 points. This 5 is bringing me to the idea of change. Okay? And these 3 wheels are sort of like, they're all stable and in one place, but they keep changing is kind of how I'm seeing it as you work. These pentacles keep sort of looking like they're changing. Let's imagine they were turning, but they're actually quite stable. Okay. Whereas the 4-pointed sort of thing, that's not a pentacle here, that's on the horn. Okay. This thing for me symbolizes sort of the idea of what we believe stability is meant to look like. And so I feel like you've decided what something is supposed to look like. Okay. And by this time it's meant to look like this, sound like this, act like this. Okay. And I'm also seeing these human beings holding up this decision as though there's something very limited about these human beings. And I'm not calling you limited, but I'm saying they are not aware of the full picture is sort of what I'm seeing here. And it's like the way they're facing me, there's a side of this that they can't see simply because they're human. Okay. With the Three of Pentacles crossing you, I feel like the nature of what you're working on is to shift, but actually what you're not seeing here is that it is stable. That's the message I'm getting so far. In your recent past, I have the Five of Cups and the Three of Cups. Okay. I just saw the Five of Cups in the membership's reading. And the message was very much around shifting perspective because of, how things will appear if you sort of, and this is what's happening here, you're casting predetermined expectations on something based on how you're seeing it. Okay? This is meant to be something that you enjoy. The Three of Cups was also in the last spread. So it's something that you're meant to be enjoying. And if you look at the Three of Cups, this is enjoyment, this is celebration, this is community. Yet in the Five of Cups, the 3 cups are spilt. And so he's almost unable to see how much he loves this thing. And with the 3 and the 3 that I'm getting together here, 3 of Cups and 3 of Pentacles, it is giving me this, it's giving me sort of, this is the nature of how things evolve. They're always turning. The movement is what creates the changes, okay? And even though things are constantly shifting and changing, you may not always have that right in your face, because when you're right up against change, all you're seeing is change, and only once you take a few steps back will you be able to actually observe the evolution and the nature of how this thing evolves. I'm getting a lot of 3s and a lot of 5s. And so this is very much the contrast between stability and change, and the struggle in terms of perspective as you reckon with the two, trying to accept that this is the nature of change. This is the nature of stability. For stability to last, it needs to be able to endure some of these sort of ebbs and flows and the up and the down. Okay, but when you're too close up against it, you might judge the entire experience as unstable. Whereas if you take a step back, just like watching the ocean, when you're right up against the wave, it looks like it's going to crash on you. But if you take a step back, it's like it's ocean waves. It's a little bit crazy how many of the cards that came up in the last spread are coming up here. I have the Wheel of Fortune, except in the members reading it was in reverse. Here, it's upright, and that's the direction you're moving in. Things are going to start evolving because of your ability to now shift your perspective and realize that you've been zoning in on one area and sort of not able to see all sides of everything, and you're going to feel the movement coming. At the top of mind, I have the Knight of Swords. Okay, I just want to see what's in your subconscious. All right. And so what I'm seeing here is a lot of mental noise. Okay, that's what I'm seeing as the Knight of Swords. That's a lot of thoughts rushing in. Okay, and in your subconscious, there's this Four of Swords and the Page of Cups. So I'm seeing a tension between your conscious mind and your subconscious, which is you battling against some of this mental noise, this mental chatter that you don't want to succumb to. Okay? And you're just trying, you want to try as much as you can to just not fight it. Okay? You don't want to fight it. You don't want to ignore it, but you don't want to succumb to it. And so I'm definitely picking up a tension between these two. In your advice, I have the King of Wands. And the way that it's facing the Page of Cups with this Four of Swords, this card was sort of saying, nip this in the bud. As if to say, don't try and run from these thoughts, face them. Okay, so you're the leader here. Okay, and the King of Wands has the ability, he's got this wand that he can use to actually transform these elements. And for clarity, I got the Ace of Swords. So they're wanting you to become clear on what these thoughts are actually telling you. And not necessarily to sit in them and let it fester, just to stop the tension between your conscious mind and your subconscious. Acknowledge these thoughts. Acknowledge them is actually that vice. This feels like the last reading we did here on the YouTube channel, where we were talking about writing and the cheat sheet. That's what it was called. Okay? So they're saying, become the leader of your experience. If you're worried about these things, ground them in writing, acknowledge them. Okay? Because they are coming in for a reason. And remember, thoughts are actually also ideas. And in itself, a thought is a leader because it can lead you to what you need to sort of acknowledge for it to be able to transform. Okay? There's also this cross, again, this badge that the King of Rods has on his shoulder, which is similar to the one on the Judgment card. It's as if the King of Wands knows exactly what's going on. Okay? He's seen all sides, something like that. He knows exactly what's going on, and he's saying, let's have a look at these thoughts. Let's have a look at them, and let's get clear on them so that they can transform. There's something about these swords. If you look at the Knight of Swords, the sword is sort of slanted, whereas the Ace of Swords is completely upright, and there's a sense of power that it comes with because of its crown. Okay, so we're trying to shift this Knight of Swords' sword so that it can become upright, just like the Ace of Swords. And on top of that, if you look at the Four of Swords in your subconscious, with all these 4 swords sort of about to land on him, it's like, don't let these thoughts eat you. Don't let them come down on you like this. Let's face them, let's look at them and transform them. In your surrounding factors, I have the 4 of Cups, which is leading me back to the 4 of Swords as well. This is what's transforming. There is something that they want you to meditate on. This is very much about transforming how things sit inside of you, how ideas sit within you and give you the wrong impression. Why? They want you to sit with this idea. They're showing me, sort of telling me, showing me, and it's blurry, it's unclear, but they're showing me a misunderstanding. Okay, they're showing me that there is a program that resides within you that takes anything that is there that, let's say, you would label as stagnant or something you don't like the way it is, or whatever it is, delay, something that's been in the same place for a while, for example, or something that appears out of place. Okay? They're saying that you form impressions on these things, that it's become like a stamp. So it doesn't matter sort of what is put in front of you, you put the stamp on it. Just like this Judgment card, the cross looks like sort of a stamp, and the stamp on the badge that the King of Wands is wearing. It's as though you place this judgment on things, you judge the things that you see, and they're actually saying you've misjudged so many of these things. And now they've showed me they want you to change the stamp into like a pentacle. And so when you see something that you're contemplating over or whatever, to rather see the value in it. How to see the value in it is to have a look at it and consider the thought that you're casting on it and why. Could be because of past experiences. It could be because you're becoming impatient, for any reasons you may have. But they want you to transform how you're seeing this and to recognize that when you're looking at one thing, you're only looking at one aspect of it from your perspective. You're not able to see the value, and instead of seeing the value, you're seeing this one micro piece of a larger thing, okay, and missing the value because you're judging it based on what you're seeing. Okay. In the area of what you want the most but fear the most, I have the Page of Wands and the Tower. Okay, so do you see how the King of Wands is holding his wand and then how the Page of Wands is holding his wand? The Page of Wands is more an explorer. Okay, and so you're almost afraid that if you look at this matter, if you look at this thought, that it could just explode and you're going to see something that you really don't want to see, or that it's going to become something you really don't want it to become. Okay, but then there's the tension between actually seeing this as a potential mental disaster or clarity, and so you want to explore this. And so I can see that you've really been reckoning with this, I want to call it a possible thought. It's like mental noise. It's noisy. And so it's not clear. And so you're hearing the noise and you want to avoid sitting with the noise. But they're saying that there's no avoiding sitting with the noise. They're actually saying you can avoid it, but it's not going to help you because the noise will persist. The noise has messages, is what they're showing me. And they're very much this energy has felt dense today, but I'm so glad to see the Wheel of Fortune coming up, because this message is to share with you that you can actually do this and you can actually work through this, and that these thoughts have important information in them that's going to change the nature of the activity, they're saying. And so there's no disaster. That's very much a result of the noise that's causing this sort of rumbling underneath your body that makes you feel sort of unsettled and unsafe, resting with your thoughts. Okay? And so what I'm seeing here is someone running from their thoughts. And so in the time that they do get, they're looking at glimpses of the story and almost deciding the worst. Okay? And so they want that aspect of this to shift. Okay. I'm laughing a little bit because in the outcome I have the 6 of Wands and the 9 of Swords. And they're saying you're going to be conquering these fears. You're going to conquer these fears. Okay, and that's what's going to bring this shift. And so what they're saying is that you actually have the tools and the ability to work through these things. Don't run from your thoughts. Thoughts are ideas, and they're here to transform your experience. Okay. I hope that you found this message helpful. Sending you so much love.